Alright, so this video is about how to flip your classroom. And I know there's lots of videos already out there on YouTube that's teaching teachers how to flip the classroom. I thought some of them are just ridiculous. They actually buy expensive products to flip the classroom with, or they actually buy things like a green screen. You don't need any of that stuff to flip your classroom. This video is about flipping your classroom using all free stuff that you probably already have at your school. Alright, so this is how I would do it. I've been flipping my classroom for about 7 years, and I got lots of videos, hundreds of videos I have that I share with my students all the time. And I was asked to create a video that will explain to teachers how they can flip their classroom with zero cost. So this is what I'll suggest. At your school, you probably have one of these things. It's called an Elmo, or you have one of these things. It's called a Promethean board, or you may have a smart board. If you have any one of those, you can flip your classroom for free. So the first thing you need is one of these. If you don't have one of these, you can use a touchscreen laptop, or you can use a camera or a camera phone. Both of those add a few more steps to the process, I think. And I think if you want to streamline it, you should find one of these within the building. But again, if you don't have one of these, you can actually use a touchscreen laptop and so forth. All right, some other things you're going to need is, you're going to need a website. You're going to need a class website. I use WordPress because it's free. You can pay for it too. I don't use the paid for version of WordPress. The free one just is fine. You just have the word WordPress before your .com, but it works perfectly fine. You can use your school website if your school if you come from a school district that gives all the teachers websites, or you can use Weebly. A lot of people use this one and they like it a whole lot. I like WordPress because it gives you a blog type thing going on, and you can just kind of post things, pretty easily. Whereas Weebly have it's kind of made for tablets, so it's kind of set up where you can touch things all the time. Anyway, whatever teacher zone, if that's what you like, that's what you use. But it's even better if you have your own school website. Save the step of creating your own website. WordPress is pretty easy. You start your own website there, probably about 5 minutes. You can start up. The next thing you're going to need is some sort of screen capturing software. This is also free. What I suggest you do is this: go to YouTube, or not YouTube, go to the internet and just Google Screen-O-Matic. I'm sure what it comes up. You go to the internet and you just Google Screen-O-Matic. It comes up, probably the first thing you're going to see in Google search. Sorry, my window is set up to move around. But you're going to see Screencast-O-Matic is the first one that comes up. It's a really safe, free website. So click it, and it's going to ask you to start recording. You click this thing, and it's going to ask you, which one do you want? You want the launch recorder, or do you want to go pro for $15 a year? I wouldn't pay $15 a year because the free one is fine. So I'll hit launch recorder, and after you hit that, at some point it's going to ask you to download launcher. So you're just going to download it, and if you got permission on your school laptop to download it, you can do it. It's pretty safe. It's going to pop up. You can give you steps to do it or whatever. But once you got that downloaded, you have the same screen capture software that I'm using right now to record this video with. Alright, so that's the next thing you need. Again, that's Screen-O-Matic. Alright, so after you get that, once you have your Promethean board or smart board or elbow, or you got the Screencast-O-Matic, the next and last thing you'll need is this. Alright, the last thing you're going to need are notes. Notes for your lesson. You can get these notes if you got a textbook. You come from a school or a school district that still believes in buying textbooks, or you can find an old textbook from someplace in the building. Every section is going to have notes that you can start with. So I would go to each section I'm teaching from, and I would find the notes they use. You probably have 4 or 5 examples to use to give you a guide to start with, and I'll write those notes down, and I'll use them as my guide for my video. I like to do it this way, because if I create notes from memory, I'm going to always forget something. I'm going to forget some vocabulary. I might not think of all the different ways I can teach that lesson or that concept, whatever. Definitely talking about math. So if you have used notes from the textbook, they've already thought about that. Somebody's already put those notes together. And, typically it's okay to use that notes if you bought the textbook for your school district. But if you're worried about that, you can rearrange your numbers. That way you're not plagiarizing them. but I don't think anybody's going to have an issue with you using those notes for educational purposes unless you're going to sell these videos to somebody one day. All right, so the last thing we need are notes to actually start with. Once you have all that, you're ready to start. You're ready to actually start flipping it. And this is what I would do to actually start flipping it. All right, what I have are 2 different slides of examples of teachers flipping their classrooms. Got these off YouTube. This is a professor or a teacher flipping his classroom, and clearly using an album where it's copying down what he has. And you can see that he chose to have his question already typed out. There's a math problem, and he's using his pen or marker to write on a white sheet of paper. And this works perfectly fine, because what you're doing is you're teaching them exactly what you'd be doing on the board, but instead of doing it on the board in a classroom full of people, the people might be talking, people might be listening to the intercom that comes on, people might be distracted by pencil sharpener, people might be distracted by their cell phone. All right, so all that is been taken care of by having this here. Anyway, this is what your videos will look like. This is perfectly fine. It's acceptable. Kids like it. Another way it can look is this. This is the Khan Academy style video. So this is a screen captured picture of someone else teaching. Again, they notice they wrote onto the Promethean board or the Smart board, and it's captured all this with the Screen-O-Matic. It has it written down at the bottom of the screen, and they write it. It's explaining exactly what the students should be looking for, and they explain the process and the steps there electronically, with this person explaining it with the marker and white paper. Both are perfectly fine ways of using it and flipping your classroom. They're great. Now let's talk about some do's and don'ts as you now a flipped classroom professional. Oh, I did mention this. Keep in mind, this is an educational document. All right, so one thing I noticed is some flipped classrooms have happening, or some teachers have happening, is they get on here and they start practicing their jokes they want to tell, or they start doing funny stuff, or they want to talk really, really fast, or do pop-up stuff, or funny cartoons throughout it, and just do a whole lot of silly stuff because they want to keep the student's attention. They think by doing it that way, the students will be more engaged and may pay more attention to what they're actually doing. But it's quite the opposite, actually. So if they're doing a lot of silly stuff or telling jokes or not being serious in the video, the students take it as a joke. Some students take it as a joke, and they can't get past your jokes and your silly stuff to actually hear the real lesson. And it distracts them and it turns them off. They might just stop watching altogether, or they might complain about it because they don't feel like it's something that's a good use of their time. So you don't want to actually do any of that stuff. You don't want to get on here cracking jokes, being silly, or not doing things that you wouldn't do if you're teaching a group of your peers. You don't have to do anything fancy or silly or cute or whatever, or what you might think is funny that you might have to do in the classroom to keep their attention, because it's you already have that video. You already have their attention because you have them watching the video. So you don't want to lose that attention by doing things that are distracting or silly or whatever here that just didn't work. All right, so that's the main thing. I've seen teachers try to do it that way, and they complain about how the students don't like the video. I have to explain to them, it's because you're not treating this as an educational document. Once you create this, they want to be only following facts and factual stuff and writing notes from it, and they don't want any fluff. They want to be as serious as a textbook. All right, so that's one good piece of advice. All right, so these are some do's and don'ts. All right, the first thing are the do's. The first do is you want to speak clearly. Speak clearly and slowly. I'm speaking kind of fast right now, which is faster than I usually talk in my videos. But if you speak really, really fast, if you go to someone, you try to teach them, I found that if I talk really, really fast to a room, that people's anxiety level starts to rise. Definitely teaching math. And some students, because you're speaking really fast, they might misunderstand you. If you're speaking really fast, it makes their heart rate rise. And because the heart rate rises, their mind is kind of racing. And because their mind is racing, they can't really absorb what you're saying. And they panic and they shut down and they stop writing what you're trying to say. Because they feel like, well, he's got to say this again. Because clearly I can't follow, so somebody else can't follow too. Another thing I would suggest is using a black or dark background. You might see mine is black right now. Khan Academy's dark background is also black. The reason why is it's a whole lot easier on your eyes if you're watching you're looking at a cell phone video or a laptop video, and you have that white screen just blaring at you for 15 minutes in your video. So Also, videos are typically less than 15 minutes. 15 minutes be the max you should make a video for a flipped classroom. You do not want to have a flipped classroom video that's 45 minutes long. So another rule is I would tell you to keep the video under 15 minutes. Again, longer than that, it's punishment. Longer than 15 minutes is really punishment with the students. I have seen teachers create 45-minute videos, and it is not a good idea. Just don't do that. 15 minutes and under. 3 minutes is really recommended, but if you're teaching the whole lesson, you're not going to really do that in 3 minutes. You're going to do like certain concepts, very Khan Academy style, you're doing 3 minutes. But they're only teaching one example at a time that way. I don't think that's great either, because you're going to assign students 5 videos to watch for homework. I really would rather put it all in one video and keep it under around 15 minutes. All right. Another good tip is find a microphone. If you got a PC, an old PC, it probably came with a microphone. Your laptop already has a microphone, but if you stand at the Promethean board, it might not capture it as loud as you want. So if you can find an old PC, chances are when your school got PCs, they got boxes of microphones. And in some closet, someplace in your building, there's boxes of unopened microphones that's just been there collecting dust forever. So if you ask the people in tech or somebody in your district who's in charge of tech, someplace somewhere, because school districts never throw those kind of things away, there's a box of microphones, and I'll go find them and use a free one, opposed to going to buy a PC microphone. But if you're from a certain age, you remember those little white microphones you get that comes with PC. I would definitely get one of those. So that way when you're talking at your Promethean board or smart board, you can move around and not worry about your laptop not capturing the sound. Also, if you use one of those PC microphones, I typically put a little piece of tape at the end of the microphone so it doesn't catch you doing that blow sound, like you're blowing into the microphone. So I just put a couple pieces of tape there, and that way it doesn't capture that sound if you're blowing into it. And the last do is create notes before starting the video. I talked about it before, like using the textbooks, whatever, but it is really important. It makes it less intimidating, gives you a place you want to start and a place you want to go, and you know when you're done. And it gives you gives you good notes if you already have your notes before you begin. And again, I will get those notes with some textbook. That way I'm thoroughly explaining everything that topic might need to explain. Alright, so this section is about don'ts. What I wouldn't do is, I won't put my face in the video. If you put your face in the video, or you record yourself at the chalkboard talking whatever for your video, it's real distracting for this reason. If you're doing it that way. Alright, for example, this guy. He's teaching, and he's in front of the board, and he probably got 100,000 views on YouTube, and it's probably working for him. My thing is, though, if you're there in front of the board, some students just pay attention to the shirt you got on, and you're an actor on the screen now, so they pay attention to the actor. They're not really paying attention to what you're writing. They're paying more attention to you. So I'd rather not put my face and my body into the screen and only write it like this style or that style, because it gives them less to focus on, and they focus only on what you want them focusing on, opposed to how your hair looks that day. Moving on. Alright, so that's pretty much all the do's and don'ts. Last thing is this. A lot of people ask, well, why is creating your own video better than using someone else who already created one on YouTube or using Khan Academy? Alright, well, the thing is, if you use somebody else's video who's not the student's teacher or using Khan Academy, a lot of times students are going to buy into what you're doing because they don't feel like you're invested in it like they're invested into it, and they don't really pay attention to the videos the same way. They just don't absorb the information the same as when it's your voice and they know you created it. Parents like it way better. Students actually buy into what you're doing and actually watch the videos on a more consistent basis. I've seen some great results by doing it this way, and it is the preferred method of doing it opposed to using random people from YouTube or even the Khan Academy stuff. So it's really important to create yourself opposed to using other people's work. So the last thing I'll say is, you can use lots of stuff for it. You can post calculators on the screen. So you can post a calculator on the screen. You can go to different websites. You can post different things you see on the web on the screen. It's an infinite amount of things you can do with the video. You can just constantly just change what you're using or whatever else. So I like it. I think you're going to like it. And now you have all the tools. You got everything you need. I hope this helps. Good luck.